If your eyes are blue, you are carrying one of the most unusual genetic stories in human history. Scientists believe that blue eyes did not evolve gradually over millions of years. Instead, they may have appeared because of a single mutation that happened thousands of years ago. But before we reveal that discovery, there is something even stranger. Blue eyes are not actually blue. And by the end of this DNA report, you will know where blue eyes came from, why babies often lose them, what risks they carry, and the ancient genetic mystery that still fascinates researchers today. When people look at a blue eye, they assume there must be a blue pigment inside the iris. There isn't. The only real pigment in the human iris is a brown pigment called melanin. Brown eyes contain a lot of it. Blue eyes contain very little. So why do blue eyes look blue? Because light enters the iris and scatters through its layers. Shorter blue wavelengths scatter more strongly than other colors, creating the blue appearance we see. It is the same basic reason the sky looks blue. In other words, a blue eye is not painted blue. It is a light scattering illusion created by a lack of melanin. And that brings us to the DNA report. For a long time, scientists thought eye color was controlled by a simple brown versus blue gene. Modern genetics revealed a much more complicated story. Many genes influence eye color, but two regions are especially important: OCA2 and HERC2. OCA2 helps regulate melanin production. A mutation near the HERC2 region acts like a dimmer switch that reduces how much melanin is produced in the iris. Less melanin means lighter eyes. That is why blue eyes can appear. But here's the surprising part. Blue-eyed people from different countries often carry the same genetic switch. This was one of the clues that led researchers to a remarkable conclusion. Researchers studying eye color genetics found evidence suggesting that the blue eye mutation originated thousands of years ago in a single individual or a very small population in Europe. Estimates vary between studies, but many place the origin roughly 6,000 to 10,000 years ago. Before that mutation appeared, humans are believed to have had predominantly brown eyes. This does not mean every blue-eyed person is closely related. It means that many blue-eyed people inherited the same ancient mutation through countless generations. So if you have blue eyes, your DNA may contain a genetic change that first appeared thousands of years ago and spread across Europe over time. Many babies are born with blue eyes. That does not guarantee they will keep them. At birth, the iris has not yet produced its full amount of melanin. During the first months and years of life, melanin production can increase. As more pigment develops, blue eyes may become brown, hazel, green, or remain blue. For some children, the change happens within a few months. For others, it can continue for up to 3 years. That is why baby photos can show bright blue eyes, even when the person later develops a completely different eye color. One of the biggest myths about blue eyes is that two blue-eyed parents will always have a blue-eyed child. Genetics is not that simple. For a long time, people believed a single gene-controlled eye color, the way you'd flip a coin between two outcomes. Modern research has found that as many as 16 different genes may play some role in determining the final shade of a person's eyes. Because of this, inherited combinations can produce results nobody expects. Two blue-eyed parents can, in rare cases, have a brown-eyed child if hidden genetic variants from earlier generations resurface. Likewise, two brown-eyed parents can sometimes have a blue-eyed child if they both happen to carry the necessary recessive variants, even if neither parent shows any sign of it themselves. Sometimes a trait can skip a generation entirely, pass silently through a parent to a grandchild. Eye color prediction is possible in some cases, but despite what most people grew up believing, it is never perfectly guaranteed. Blue eyes may look striking, but they come with a genuine trade-off. Because they contain less melanin, they provide less natural protection against certain types of light damage, particularly to the back of the eye. Research has linked lighter eye colors with greater sensitivity to bright light, a higher risk of ocular uveal melanoma, and a higher risk of age-related macular degeneration later in life. But the story isn't entirely one-sided. Some research has also found that blue eyes may actually carry a somewhat lower risk of developing cataracts compared to brown eyes. likely because of how differently the two eye types absorb and process light over a lifetime. This does not mean blue eyes are dangerous. It means the protection they lack in one area comes with a different balance in another. What matters most is protecting them from excessive UV exposure over time, since researchers believe this kind of damage builds up cumulatively across decades, not overnight. That is why eye doctors often recommend high-quality UV-blocking sunglasses, particularly for people with light-colored eyes, and why some opt for photochromic lenses that automatically darken in sunlight while blocking UV rays both indoors and outside. There's another layer to this story that most people never hear about. Because melanin plays a role well beyond just eye color, some researchers have looked into whether lighter eyes are connected to other traits entirely. A few studies have explored possible links between lighter eye color and differences in pain tolerance, alcohol sensitivity, and even how the eyes adjust between light and dark environments. The evidence here is still considered preliminary, and scientists are careful not to overstate it, but it points to something fascinating. A single genetic switch sitting quietly in your DNA may be doing far more than simply deciding what color looks back at you in the mirror. But the DNA report isn't closed just yet. There are still a few surprising facts hidden inside it. First, despite what many people believe, blue eyes aren't actually the rarest eye color on Earth. Green eyes are even rarer. Gray eyes are rarer still. And true amber eyes are among the rarest naturally occurring eye colors in humans. Here's another strange fact. Have you ever noticed someone's blue eyes looking bright blue one day and almost gray the next? That's completely normal. Since blue eyes don't contain blue pigment, changes in lighting, clothing, and even the surrounding environment can alter the way light scatters inside the iris, making the same pair of eyes appear to change color. Some people with blue eyes also experience something called the Photic sneeze reflex. Walk out of a dark building into bright sunlight, and instead of simply squinting, they sneeze. It's a harmless genetic quirk that scientists believe affects millions of people around the world. And finally, if you've ever wondered why blue eyes seem so common in some countries, the answer is geography. The highest concentration of blue-eyed people is found across Northern and Eastern Europe. In countries like Estonia, Finland, and Iceland, blue eyes aren't considered unusual at all. In some communities, they're actually the majority. So, what does the DNA report finally tell us? Blue eyes aren't blue. They contain no blue pigment at all. Their color is created by light scattering through an iris with very little melanin. Their appearance is controlled largely by the ERK2 and OCA2 genetic regions. Only around 9% of the world's population has naturally blue eyes. And while they may be more sensitive to sunlight because of their lower melanin levels, they also tell one of the most remarkable stories in human genetics. Because thousands of years ago, one tiny genetic mutation quietly appeared. It didn't create a new species. It didn't change the course of civilization. It simply changed the color of someone's eyes. Yet today, that same genetic signature may still be carried by millions of people across the planet. So if your eyes are blue, you're not just looking into a mirror. You're looking at one of the oldest surviving genetic stories in human history. DNA report closed.